2, 1.
Hey everybody, my name's Mary and this is Carrie.
Hey.
And welcome to Going Deeper. We are here to talk about the very last message in our Heart to Heart series, the Prayers of Jesus.
Yep, and this past week Reed read from Matthew 26 verses 39 through 44, and I'm going to read that now. This is the prayer, Jesus' last prayer in the garden on the way to the cross. It says, going a little farther, he fell with his face to the ground and prayed, "My Father, if it is possible, may this cup be taken from me, yet not as I will, but as you will." Then he returned to his disciples and found them sleeping. "Couldn't you men keep watch with me for 1 hour?" he asked Peter. "Watch and pray so that you will not fall into temptation. The spirit is willing, but the flesh is weak." He went away a second time and prayed, "My Father, if it is not possible for this cup to be taken away unless I drink it, may your will be done." When he came back, he again found them sleeping because their eyes were heavy. So he left them and went away once more and prayed the third time, saying the same thing. Then he returned to the disciples, and said to them, "Are you still sleeping and resting? Look, the hour has come, and the Son of Man is delivered into the hands of sinners. Rise, let us go. Here comes my betrayer." And that passage just gets me every
That's
time.
so heavy.
The agony of our Savior before he went to the cross. It's hard to read that a little bit.
And the thing that got me, one of the things, it's always so many things, but the one thing that really stood out was the humanity of Jesus. You think of Jesus as, the Son of Man, the Son of God, and this holy being, which he was, but he was also human. And the humanity of him and the pain that he was suffering, I always think of him as pure and light and having this almost umbilical connection with God. And I think that cup of wrath was literally that connection being severed. And the pain that he was suffering, knowing it was coming, yet willing to do it, not only for us, but mostly because it was God's plan and it was what God wanted. It was his will.
Yeah.
So that was really hard for me to sit through.
Yeah. And the idea that, I love what you said there, first of all, just that umbilical connection that he had between Jesus and that. Reed talked about how that the cup of wrath, the wrath of God is not just the hell, fire, and brimstone that we often think about, but it is simply God letting us have our own way. It's us choosing to be our own master. And when that happens, when we choose to be the master of our lives, and we choose to go our own way apart from what God would have us, we do feel that severing in our hearts. If we're followers of Jesus, if we, our relationship with him, and we're walking with him, when we walk away and turn our backs on him and what he would have for us, we feel it. We feel that severing and that wrestling that Jesus experienced in the garden. Is just, it's a big picture of kind of what we would feel. And it's also, it made me think about that God would allow us to experience that pain. He's not going to force us to follow him. He's not going to force us to love him. But he allows us to feel the pain of that going our own way, the sin and the rebellion, because that's the very thing that
draws us back.
Often draws us back to the love and the peace and the Christ that we were created for.
And the thing is, when he knowingly goes to that cross, he did it for all of humanity, believe in him or not. He did it for everybody. And as a follower of Jesus, I know that, and I know that my robes have been washed clean by that act and through that suffering. And I still, every day, find myself making the choice to leave the clean robes in the closet and wear my filthy rags and pick up my guilt and live like I'm not a saved child of Christ. So that's the constant struggle. And I feel like when you walk away from God, that longing is there, but you fill it with other things. You fill it with things that aren't really going to bring you that fulfillment until you realize finally that he's calling you back to him, and none of that is going to fill that hole ever. It's never going to restore that connection. You just have to go back to God.
Yeah, and I love that, that analogy. We get the choice every day to pick up
your bucket of mess or
put
walk
on
cleanly,
that, and
that's
what Jesus did for us. I love that. It's just this
Yes.
Jesus' obedience. Reed talked so much about Jesus' obedience
Right.
on the cross, and his death on the cross provided for us both the removal of the penalty of our sin, and also transferred to us Christ's perfect record. His
Yes.
perfect obedience gets transferred to us. And that's what we get to pick up and choose every day to walk around with.
Right.
So
we just need to do it.
we just need to do it, yeah.
Every day.
So yeah.
It's hard. It's hard, but I think messages like that, I think the series was really good at showing us that Jesus prayed to his Father, to his dad. He had that connection, and by dying on that cross, he gave us that connection. Like, we don't have to go to the high priest, and we don't have to have him go once a year and talk to God for us. We can do that every day. And I think this series helped us realize that those prayers were meant to show us how to have that connection with the Father through Jesus' sacrifice and death and resurrection.
So prayer changes us, right?
It really,
so it's
really
not
does.
just us trying to, that's
really
the other thing.
does.
That's the big takeaway, was that it's not just us trying to get God to do what
Exactly,
we want.
exactly.
It's just what Jesus did, bending his will to the
God's.
Father's desire.
Right. And not praying for, can I have the parking spot? Can I, he said something about what do you pray to God for? And then, do you feel silly for praying to God for that? And I just think you just need to go to the Father and lay yourself at that cross. Just lay yourself down.
So we hope this whole series has been an encouragement to you, as it has been to us.
Absolutely.
And that it'll encourage you in your walk with the Lord and in prayer to go deeper with him. So stay tuned. This Sunday we are starting a new series. You want to talk a little bit about that?
It's called the Summer of Soul. We're launching Soul Care. And that's something, it's a 6-week series that focuses on taking care of that God inside you. So I hope you tune in for that.
Yeah.
Starting Sunday.
All right. Thanks for joining us today.
Thank you.